Hello, everybody, and welcome back. First, I'd like to start off by apologizing for the infrequency of my uploads. I've been in a little bit of slump recently. I haven't had a whole ton of drive to role play or be doing anything solo, and that's just because of some stuff that's going on. I'm changing jobs, and it's a little bit stressful. But I thought I'd get on today anyway and talk about something that I wanted to do and have uh, sort of found some inspiration to do. Um, so that would be procedurally generating a world. We did this a little bit with the Fortress City, where we would procedurally generate floors on the city, and it would it would generate these twisting hallways, and it was really cool. And I kind of wanted to see how that would work with an entire world. Now, I did talk about the D100 Dungeon World Builder that was coming in the mail. It's here. It's not exactly what I thought it was, although it does have the functionality that I hoped it did. I had hoped that it would only use D100s, so I could kind of develop almost a universal, not a system per se, but like a library that only used D100s. Because, bare bones fantasy and D100 light system. It doesn't quite do that. It also uses a D6, so dreams shattered. But hey, I still want to give it a try. I'm reading through it. And on the note of procedurally generating worlds, what you see in front of you is the Delving Deeper Reference Rules Compendium. If you don't know what that is, it is OD&D along a similar vein of Whitebox and Whitebox Fantastic. This is a little bit different. It is, in my opinion, both more and less useful. um, it is more useful in that it has a very expansive bestiary, where it's got so many monsters. Another thing that it has that White Box doesn't have is the ability to generate terrain as you go. And let's see if I can. Oh, my Zoom isn't cooperating. So what I'll show you here. There's a section in here that has to do with wilderness exploration. Yeah, it's in here in the preparation for a campaign area, and it has creating a world. And a subsection of creating a world not only does it have a random dungeon generator. This would be a lot easier if I could zoom back out. It has like things for different levels in the dungeon. Underworld exploration. Where's this at? Wilderness exploration. Here it is. So you can actually go hex by hex, and it will generate different kinds of terrain, and it can show you depending on who you are. If you're writing anything, it shows you how fast you can move. It has random wilderness features like a fjord. It's got rivers, trails, strongholds. I would add something for like settlements if you were to come across like a town or something. It has weather. It's got like who lives in a stronghold if you find it. Oh yeah, it talks about becoming lost. Fords. Oh, here it is. Settlements. So it talks about, or oh, well, I guess this is wilderness encounters, but it talks about villages and towns and how those work. Just more wilderness encounters. It talks about surprise, things like that. So this book has the ability uh, to randomize the wilderness, and I thought this would be an interesting book to use with my minimalist solo role play setup. Now, what Delving Deeper doesn't do as well as something like White Box is Whitebox solved the problem that OD&D had in a very very simple way, whereby it would have two-handed weapons do d6 plus 1, and it'd have things like daggers and slings do d6 minus 1, and everything else did a d6. In this game, everything does a d6 damage. Every weapon does d6, whether it's a dagger or if it's like a claymore, like a two-handed sword, it all does a d6. And you can see where problems would arise, where why would a fighter choose to use a heroic-looking sword when he can pick up a dagger and use it with just as much efficacy at a fraction of the weight? And I suppose the answer to that is flavor, but you see where I'm coming from. So what I thought I would do today is just go through and generate our starting area. I've rolled a character. Here's his miniature here. I'm not going to talk about him until we start. But I figured it'd be a good idea to just get the beginnings of the world going. So before we do anything as a character, we need a world to run around in. And I figured what I would do is I would just kind of randomize where we were. So we're going to use trusty table fables, and we're going to make a country and at least one city because we're going to start in there. So I guess we should start with the name of our country, and for that it calls for a d20. So the name of the country that we're playing in, number 6, is Bozet. Is that there? Number 6, Kingdom of Bozet. That's what I'm going to put right here. Bozet. All right, in the Kingdom of Bozet, we need a size. How big is this kingdom? 6. It is large. Very large. That's like it's like a million. So it's D100 times a million. Is that what that is? That doesn't seem right. Anyway, let's do it. We got a D100 over here. A million, huh? 40 million. Am I going insane? Is that a million? Pretty sure 1,000. That's 10,000. That's like a million. 100 million square miles. Wow. That sounds really big. Maybe that's not that big. Okay. So now we need like a primary terrain. So we know this is a large kingdom of 4 million square miles. That sounds enormous. That sounds absolutely enormous. And we're going to roll a d8 for our primary environment, which is good because then we can cross-reference that with the rules, and we can decide what kind of creatures we run into when we start doing things. That's 8 on a d8. Wetlands. So wow, okay. So typical weather includes heavy rain and mild temperatures. So Bozet is a kingdom in the wetlands. Bozet 40 million wetlands. That sounds really funny out of context. All right. Ooh, the primary race. And this is really going to determine exactly how hostile this place is, because there's like 4 civilized races in the core book. So please don't be crazy. 1. Oh, what a relief. That's humans. Okay, so this is a human kingdom. Human Bozet, 40 million wetlands. All right, so let's talk about our economy here. Let's see exactly how well off we are. Where's my D4? It's over here. How are we looking? How's the economy here? That's a 3. It's a balanced economy. Okay, so there's nothing particularly special going on in Bozet. It's not good or bad. Now we're going to talk about the primary export of the country. So let's give the D12 a roll. What? That's a 5. And that means fish. So I assume we're on the coast or by a lake. Let's do evens and odds there. Evens, we're on the coast by an ocean, or odds, we're near a lake. Evens, we're on the coast. Okay. We're in a coastal kingdom whose primary export is fish. Okay, so we'll draw that in a minute. I don't know how close we are. Okay, we can do this military stuff as well. This will help us kind of round it out. Uh, yeah, okay. So military D4, we've got 1. This is a peaceful country. They are not at war currently. Military strength 4. They have a moderate military, and their primary unit, that's a 1, is infantry. Okay, so this is an infantry based, moderately powerful kingdom um, that is not currently at war. They're on wetlands, so I assume this is like a moor or a swamp or something. Oh, okay. The primary religion here. Now, the way things tend to work here is, I mean, clerics are usually from a monotheistic religion, but, we'll give this a roll anyway. 4. There it is. Yep. We are a monotheistic country. 3 and 4 is monotheism. So that would mean that I would assume the clergy has quite a bit of sway here in some places. Okay, so the quality of life for people here, 1 is great. Oh, people like it here. So the moderate economy and not warlike behavior is causing this place to be relatively prosperous, and people like it. We have some headline news. I never do this. I'm excited to see what happens here. Headline news. We've got here 8. A severe illness has spread through the capital. That doesn't sound good. So I should probably be writing some of this down. I will. Okay, so there's an illness spreading through the capital, and we have some history here. A technological breakthrough. A technological breakthrough changed the lives of the population. Okay, we'll have to determine what that is when we face it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place our town, and we're going to determine what that is really quick. I'm going to put a bookmark in here, and I have just come up with an extremely tedious way to figure out what hex we're going to start on. And by that I mean I'm going to take our D100s, and that's 51. That extremely tedious method being just counting up and down the rows until I hit 51, and that's where we stopped. So this is where our town is. So now we can start developing a town using the town generator on page 78. So this is important. This is kind of our starting location. This is someplace we can come back to. By the way, evens, odds, is this the capital? Even says yes, odds says no. Odds, no. Thank goodness. So we're not going to have to deal with a plague quite yet, at least. So the name of this town is Kings Falls. Okay, so the town is Kings Falls. So far, we might change it, but for now it's Kings Falls. KF, because writing really small with this marker is difficult. Okay, so the size of this town, city, place, we'll figure out in a second. This is four. This is a city, so this is a large. This is a large city. Now I really am going to start writing this stuff down. Um, where's my book? Here we go. So Kings Falls is a large city. I assume we're by the. Well, I guess we'll see what our export is. The country's primary export is fish, but we will see what our primary export is here. So Kings Falls. Kings Falls city. So we have our population is 1D100 times 1,000. Wow. So the population of Kings Falls is 75,000. All right. 75,000 people. And the quality of life here is good or great. Actually, it says this has a great quality of life. This I really like the Kingdom of Bozet so far. Great life. All right, so what's our governmental type here? It says that Bozet is like a representative government, I think. But so I assume this would translate to the town. Uh, well, it says this is a plutarchy. The town's leaders are a council consisting of the wealthiest and most influential of the town's merchants and citizens. Okay. Plutarchy. I don't know if you can hear that, but the cat is scratching at the door ever so slightly. He doesn't like it when I close the door on him. Okay, and here's where we determine where we're going to be. So we're going to determine our primary export by rolling a d12. Oh, it's up here. Okay, so the primary export of Kings Falls, that's a 2. Coal. Okay, so to me, this tells me we're in the mountains. So this is like a mountain. This is like a mountain city where we're probably in a valley and there's probably mines up in the mountains there. So we export coal. Export coal. I like that. There's probably a lot of dwarves that live here as well. Dwarves tend to be drawn to that kind of thing. Okay, so primary architecture. This kind of stuff can get really interesting. So our primary architecture, D10, 8. Tents, variable size made from canvas hide with wooden flooring and collapsible furniture. A whole city of this, huh? I think I should retcon that. If I roll it again, I'll keep it. But this is like an established city. That sounds like nomadic. 5. Vernacular style structures made from whatever can be found in the surrounding land, often wood or stacked stones. I suppose. Yeah, we'll keep that. Again, that seems fairly impermanent and not indicative of the great economy. That's what we get for randomizing. Okay, so I'll say vernacular buildings. Okay, that's weird. Uh, let's see what our town center is here. Whoa. Our town center is a long single story. Oh, sorry, that's the architecture. A huge ancient tree is in the middle of the town. Huge ancient tree. Yeah, I can see it. We're probably situated in a valley, surrounded by mountains on all sides. That's kind of where I live, kind of, minus the coal mine. And the weird shantytown buildings. Okay, so we got a D20. We're going to determine the town's history really fast here. 13, it says, claim to fame. The town was a birthplace of a famous historical figure. Birthplace. And we can determine who that is later. Of historical figure. That's kind of cool. I'm interested to know who that is and why they're important. Notable town or town notabilities and peculiarities. So that's a D100 here. 97. 97, that's fair ways down the list. A local legend. The town is a tourist attraction for thrill seekers. Many have claimed to see legendary creatures in the surrounding forests and fields, and local businesses have jumped at the financial opportunity. They're like selling Bigfoot shirts. That's pretty great. Okay, so it says a local legend, which we can determine later on. I can't help but feel like this is also connected to our historical figure. Maybe he slew some kind of monster and people still claim to see it. So that's our main city. We are not on the coast, although the kingdom is coastal. Yeah, give me a second and I'm going to draw that on our hex map. So there's Kings Falls up there. It's got a little city in the valley. It's known for its coal mine. Um, it has a huge ancient tree at the center of town, which kind of like Gondor, I can kind of imagine this tree making its way onto kind of the banner of the town. Um, or maybe this also has something to do with the historical figure, like this tree is to commemorate something about him. I feel like the local legend has something to do with him. So maybe I feel like this is some creature that he supposedly slew or faced. And I think a good way to determine what that would be is to actually roll for it in here. And I would like to look into this first. One of our characters, um, one of our characters' first little missions here is he wants to go and see what this is. So we're in the mountains or in the woods. So we're kind of like these wooded mountains. So in the wood here, he faced either slew it or he met it. So we're going to roll a d20 and see what it is. That's an 18. Treants. Oh, I like that. So we're kind of we're in the woods and people come to see treants. Treants are not common. So people will sometimes come to see if they can catch a glimpse of treants wandering the woods around Kings Falls. So I'm going to write that down here. Man, so I can just imagine. I can imagine in Kings Falls where uh, you've got like little tourist trap shops where people are like, "Oh, look, this is a branch that fell off of a tree ant," or "Come get this amazing tree ant shirt," something like that. Um, I'm liking that so far. Our primary export is coal. Interesting looking vernacular buildings, just kind of built out of whatever. Uh, Based on the population, I would say this town is fairly new. Um, so, like, people have just kind of flocked to this location. Excuse me, I'm getting really tired. But they flocked to this location, and it looks like they've just kind of thrown a city up out of nothing. That's interesting. So this place is almost brand new, I would imagine, which I guess that makes sense that it's run by a plutarchy because the first people who got here more or less just kind of stated that they were in charge. Yeah. Okay, I'm liking this. So next time, I think I'm going to start here. I might change my character based on what I'm hearing here. Um, but yeah, this is going to be really interesting. We're going to do sort of an open world thing. We're going to just explore the areas around Kings Falls City. We're going to explore the rest of the country of Bozette. Bozette. There's a lot of people, a lot of wetlands. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys are. Again, sorry if it sounds like I'm not terribly enthusiastic, but we're changing jobs, and I've sort of been in a solo role play slump. But I do want to get back to it. I'm kind of collecting some more books. Sort of a little bit of a preview. I'm not going to talk anything about it, but I just kind of want to show it because I wanted to. This is this is a book I want to do in the future. This is The Blackest of Deaths. I'm not going to say too much about it, but the closest thing I would compare it to is something like Merkborg, because it's that kind of grim dark sort of feel. And this is definitely one I want to try very soon. Definitely the next couple of videos or so. Still working on a bunch of the skirmish stuff. Sorry if this video was kind of boring, but thank you for watching anyway. We'll see you in the next one where we explore the city of King's Fall and discover exactly what lurks in the mountains and the woods.